All right, guys, back to the King of New York conversation.
Oh,
I know, sorry, Star, it couldn't die that easily. So yesterday we spoke about people like Tekashi 6ix9ine and Don Q battling for the crown. Now Joey Badass jumped in and he had some things to say.
That's small as hell.
I can't read that shit.
Says all that king talk is cool and all, but I just made 100 racks yesterday off features, another $250,000 off ghostwriting, and another 120 racks off an endorsement. That's the front end.
Hey.
Not to mention $500,000 I brought in from touring about a month ago. Plus I'm going on another tour again in April. Plus another $300K. God damn it, man.
That was a good
This
read.
thing was running out. He's running up a check.
Oh, man.
So you were talking about the criteria yesterday, right, for being considered king?
Joey want to be king, man.
He want to be king, but what struck me was like, when Joey Badass started talking about money.
Aha.
You know what I mean? Like, when he started talking about
The
money.
first time we heard about it was when he said that he wrote for Post Malone, right? But I don't know if there was a figure attached. He just said he made money off of it. This is a big step for him, breaking it down like this.
Wait a
Go ahead,
minute.
go
Wait a minute. Okay, since we're going back into this.
Right.
And I said, aha, this proves that it's not about fucking criterias, respectfully. It's sad to see Joey Badass become a corporate whore. Breaks my fucking heart. You were not up to speed on the pro-era movement when we first sat down. I say that respectfully. Are you familiar with Joey Badass's whole team?
Kirk,
Pro-era,
Kirk Knight,
Capital
everybody.
Steez.
Yes.
This is sad to see him now talk about money and the reason why he should be king of New York. So that just, I'm not trying to describe what you were saying, but
I get what you're
criteria is it Joey Badass is just throwing that shit out the window.
Yeah, I mean, you know what's crazy
Out the
about with Joey is
fucking
like
window,
this.
sadly.
He been getting money. One of the Obama daughters wore his shirt. Like, I'm pretty sure he made $1 million off that shirt. You know what I'm saying? The thing with everybody when it comes to this King of New York shit, until you could do what Drake does in New York, Future does in New York, J. Cole or Kendrick, there's no king.
Are we still saying selling out the garden?
Not just selling out the garden, but I'm talking about the momentum when somebody comes into this city. When people come into the city, they have a crazy momentum that people who are from here just don't have. We don't have that level of artistry here.
Kendrick can sell the garden, yes?
Absolutely.
We didn't mention Kendrick yesterday.
Yeah, we
Could
didn't.
Kendrick Lamar be considered king of New York? He even stated it.
No.
Why not?
No.
Sips water.
He's sipping. Why not?
Sips water. No, man. I love Kendrick. I ain't gonna go there, but
He called himself king of New York. Why can't we say, all right, so it is still important, the whole title of king of New York?
Nah, man. King of New York is a fictional character, man. We see in the movie.
Man, listen. I disagree with you that the throne is just vacant.
Right.
The point you were making, and your criteria, you have some solid criteria, but your criteria is like a once-in-a-lifetime type of.
It was old shit. I'm sorry, it was old shit.
It's not.
The criteria
It's
for the
not.
throne should be pretty tough.
But what I'm saying is that in any kingdom, we don't have a king for like 2 decades.
Right.
And then we get a king. There's always a king. There's always a president. There's always an emperor. It's just that's how it rocks.
Yes,
It
yeah.
might not be the strongest
All right.
regime.
All
Might
right.
be at the weak point.
But all right, so now, with that being said, I feel like if you're going to be king, you have to be on a level of certain artists. Like a Kendrick, like a Drake, like a J. Cole, because they run the game. They take where they're from around the world. Nobody cared about Toronto until Drake, and they had a whole basketball team, right?
Okay.
Nobody cared, right? Future has he has the most momentum as a solo artist, probably right now coming out of Atlanta. J. Cole, nobody cared about Fayetteville, North Carolina until he took that shit to the world. Nobody from New York is taking their brand to the world. They're just here in New York
That remains
on a
to be
larger
seen,
level.
But that's what I'm saying. That we're still, what you didn't want to admit, we're just at a weak point still with New York hip hop.
Yeah.
However, I'm still gonna give that King title somebody to whoever the hottest is. You have it again. This won't be one of the runs that we look like. Yo, remember when New York City was popping? When Tekashi was shooting the videos? No, it won't be. Again, it's a weak era. But somebody got to be the king. To Joey's point, Joey trying to throw in his hat in the race. I understand your point. I see what he did differently though, because if he talked lyrics, we could talk about him with anybody in New York in terms of being king. I think it came at it differently. He because again, the King of New York title is only about hotness and hype. Right. He kind of showed, or at least pulled the veil up to say, some of these niggas not even making money like me. What are we talking about? Are we talking about hype, hotness, or are we talking about who's getting the bag? I'm getting the bag, and we don't want to talk about talent because I rap all these niggas.
Right.
I thought this was cool. It came off course. Anytime a nigga's like fucking like going down like it's an IRS statement, like
was a left hook for me, like, I didn't know where it was coming from.
Like yo, I did this. It's gonna look very braggadocious, and of course, people don't look at a Joey Badass
because he's not in the conversation. People don't put him in that conversation. Even with all of his accolades, people don't put him in that conversation. They just don't.
All right, I know you were saying the title of King of New York being awarded, but let's talk about if we had to say the guy right now for New York. The guy, right? Because I think that like King of New York make you remember to like 2002 or something.
Nah, I'm not even talking about that. I'm just saying I get what you're saying with the guy.
I know. So who's the guy for you? I thought Joey threw his hat in the ring. I was like, it made me think. If I'm like, Joey's independent, he's getting more money than most of these.
He's not independent, man. All these artists is not independent. Stop with that. They're not independent. They all signed. All of the artists we talk about are signed.
Okay.
All of them.
Well, he signed, I believe, to Cinematic, which is an independent record. Well, it's different than Def Jam. Where he signed to is different than Def Jam, it's different than Atlantic, right? Even if they do got distribution and all that shit. Right. And by the way, he's been jacking that independent shit for a while. Like, yo, I'm independent. But who would you say is the man right now then?
The man?
Who's the man right now?
There's a multitude of them. And they all don't add up to a Drake. They all don't add up to a Drake.
When's the last time New York had a Drake?
Exactly. And that's what if you want to be a king, then you got to run the whole fucking game. It's not about, listen, don't stop trying to reduce me to this 2002 shit. Stop doing that.
Hasn't ran the game.
No, stop doing, you have to run the game. Listen, so you telling me that no artist can come out and have the same trajectory as a Kendrick or a Drake or a Cole? These are the people that run the game. When you think of Kendrick, you think of an artist from California, from Compton, that goes around the world with his brand, right? And has the same impact everywhere he goes. That's why he's one of the top artists in the game.
What about A$AP Rocky?
No.
Why not?
To me, he doesn't have the music.
If we're talking about contenders, it seems like someone like a Chance could be up next for a title like that. Maybe.
Not for New York.
Not for New York, but of his city.
Of his city.
That's my only point with this whole argument. Like, yo, you compare somebody to Drake, you'll never see another Drake. We'll never see another Kendrick.
I don't think we'll see another Drake.
You'll never see another, but I'm just saying that type of caliber. That type of, I'm not saying that you have to, like, okay, somebody said to me yesterday in my comments, like, oh, so you telling me nobody could pass Jay-Z, there'll never be another Jay-Z? No, but if you pass Jay-Z, you won't be Jay-Z, you be them past them. You'll set your own standard for who you are. And people was always trying to chase what it was instead of being their own self.
Well, hang on, so you just mentioned taking your brand
around the world. Yeah.
A$AP Rocky, his brand, fashion brand is around the fucking world. I go into Macy's, bang, he's every fucking way. Now,
but his music is not up to the standard of his fashion show.
I'll give you that on the music, but in terms of just, coming out of New York and dominating in a certain area, fashion, and I do like A$AP Rocky's music, although his latest stuff, he's been talking about, experimenting. He's not even a contender for King of New York, A$AP Rocky?
Wouldn't you call him then? You've called someone else a cultural vulture for focusing on fashion over
I've never called A$AP Rocky.
No, not him, but it's come up on the show, so I'm saying if fashion is the big thing and not music, does that take away from him being a contender here, in your mind?
Young Thug, you were talking about. But A$AP Rocky came out the gate and he was speaking about music first. I mean, he branched off into fashion. That's why I would never put that title on him. But so you're saying he's not even a contender, A$AP Rocky?
No, you want to know
King
why?
of New York.
You want to know why? Because,
break it down.
Okay, I'm going to tell you why. Because identity, right? When you think of A$AP Rocky, he looks like a model. Like, he just has a look that he doesn't have a New York look. When you think of anybody else, you can identify exactly where they're from. That's what I'm saying. It's like, you got to be able to take your brand to the world. When you think of Kendrick, you think of Compton when you think of Kendrick. When I think of A$AP Rocky, I don't think of New York. I think of an artist that's from New York, but I don't think solely New York. He's a New York guy.
Wayno, I think we're talking past each other. I think this title is a problematic part. Pick the guy who's running.
Just pick that's all we want. I never picked the guy. I said there's no.
No, we need one. We need a name because
I said this yesterday. I said 6ix9ine. Yesterday I said he's the hottest coming out of New York right now. What more you want from that? He's doing his thing. A Boogie's doing his thing. Dave East is doing his thing. It's a bunch of people. But I don't feel like it's just this one dude that when you think of New York right now, you think of them. Because even with Cardi B Cardi B's doing her thing, but she still has a ways to go. People are not associating her directly with New York, and she's from the Bronx.
And that's why this whole thing, this is just competition. It's just competition.
that.
No, this is friendly competition. A Boogie's like, oh, you think you got it? Nah, I got it. You know what I mean? Again, as long as it stays friendly and it stays on some hey, we're pushing each other because that's how it is. You know what I mean? If everybody's at this level, you're saying y'all can't be king unless y'all here and y'all doing it around the world. They got to push each other to not be comfortable here. And when people coming out and saying, well, I'm the guy right now, somebody else be like, wait till my project.
All right, so
I'm the guy.
I respect that. Nobody's pushing to be there, right? When Drake came out, it was him, Cudi, and Wale. He well surpassed that. They was the guys that was looked at in the game to be the next guys. He's well surpassed that. Kendrick came out on the freshman cover. It was him, Big Sean, J. Cole. No, that was a different one. I'm sorry. Meek was on. It was a few different people, right? But he's well surpassed where he was at. For us to have a person to call themselves king, they have to reign. They can't just have a little run for a couple of months. They have to reign consistently. I don't see the consistency on a level of music, branding, everything consistently.
My last thought on this, I will say though, I just believe New York is pretty much, as a region, a non-factor in hip hop. Is going to continue to be a non-factor for a little while. And when I mean a non-factor, it's not going to be competing with Atlanta, or it's not like going to be a popping region for some while.
I'm from New York. I would not call New York a non-factor. We're always a factor. But we're not in the same level of competition, but we're there. Cardi's putting out big records. French Montana put out a big record. Dave East dropped a dope project. A Boogie dropped a good album that sold.
Like screaming New York every
No, I'm not. That's not the thing. But he's from are you from New York, my nigga?
No, but
all right then. So what are you talking about?
You can't just name anybody.
I'm not naming anybody. French Montana's from the fucking Bronx. Are you kidding
that's
me?
cool, but you making
I would
music
have
like
to agree with
Miami.
him
He's from the Bronx.
New York will always be a factor.
It's
I agree
always a
with that.
factor, but we're not.
But
we're
when
not
people
at
see
that
his music,
level.
they don't think about New York. When people listen,
That's exactly why there is no king. When people see all of these different artists, you don't think of them being from New York because right now New York does not have a specific sound or direction. It's all over the place. Everybody else has consistency and direction with what they do. That's why I mentioned a Kendrick, a Cole, even Meek. Meek can sell out the Wachovia Center in Philadelphia. Nobody, no one artist in New York is selling out the Barclays.
Yeah, I think you guys have different criteria for this. You're
Well,
never
I don't
really
believe
going
that
to
New
agree.
York will have a cohesive sound going forward.
I'm just saying we don't have one guy that is the shit everywhere they go.
But we could. We could eventually
We
if they
could.
keep pushing each other, like you said. So let's see. You guys are just going to
New
keep
York gotta
disagreeing
compete
on
among
this.
New
There's nothing.
We
there's
can't
nothing
throw
more.
New York artists and then mention Drake. That's like a whole different ball game.